CreepyCorner stories.
Hey folks, before we dive into tonight's stories, I want to give a huge thank you to Kieran Tibbetts, Lisa Collin, 85, and Dark Impulse for supporting the channel and being amazing members. So if you enjoy what you hear tonight, grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's step into another amazing night. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. I paid $3,000 on the dark web to rent an alien. It wasn't what I expected. Alright, I'm not even sure how to start this. I wasn't planning on posting this here, but I've been going back and forth with myself for weeks, and I can't sleep. I keep thinking, maybe if I just tell someone, even if it's strangers on Reddit, it'll feel less like I'm losing my mind. So, I'm 24, just a regular dude. I work remote in IT, live in a small apartment outside of Denver, Colorado, and I'm into the same basic stuff most people my age are. Reddit, YouTube rabbit holes, late night DoorDash orders, and occasionally wandering down some weird corners of the internet when I can't sleep. And that's where all this started. A weird night where I couldn't sleep. It was around 2:30 a.m., one of those nights where you're just stuck in a scroll loop. I was watching this video from this YouTube channel called Here's My Story. You know, the one, animated horror stories with that dead serious voiceover that somehow makes even dumb stories sound eerie. They had one about a guy who found a hidden section of the dark web where people sold supernatural experiences. It was total clickbait, or at least I thought it was. But the thing is, I'd been on the dark web before, not for anything crazy. I'm talking forums, weird puzzle games, strange ARG type stuff. So I figured, hey, maybe I can find that site, just for laughs. I wasn't going to buy anything. It was just curiosity. Famous last words. I fired up Tails OS on an old laptop I used for messing around, launched Tor, and started digging. Most of it was the usual. Sketchy marketplaces, dead links, fake red rooms, and forums that hadn't been active since 2016. But after a couple hours, something came up. It was a page called The Rental Room. No flashy graphics, no edgy blood-dripping fonts. Just a plain black background, white text, and a simple menu. It offered experiences, not products. Ghost hunts, rituals, and yeah, alien encounters. One section was titled Rent an Entity, and listed under it was something I'll never forget. Number 004A, interdimensional humanoid, ALN3. The passenger. Duration, 3 days. Price, $3,000, crypto only. Rules: no direct eye contact. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not try to remove its mask. Disclaimer: the entity is not an actor. No refunds, no exceptions. I laughed at first. Like, come on, this is clearly LARPing or some immersive horror thing, right? But there were reviews underneath. Real-looking reviews. Like Reddit-style comments, verified usernames, some linking back to legit.onion forums I'd seen before. Tried it as a joke. I thought it was a prank, but something showed up at my house. It knew my name. I didn't tell anyone I ordered it. U/softneck11. Woke up with scratches all over my arms and a nosebleed. It stood by my bed all night. Never moved. Never blinked. Ocular Rapture. It was standing behind me when I looked in my bathroom mirror. It didn't follow rules. Don't rent number 004A. You thought nap time with knives. This is where it stopped feeling like a game. I clicked away. I literally shut my laptop. I even unhooked it from Wi-Fi. But for days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Not even because I believed it. More like, it felt like I'd stumbled onto something that shouldn't exist. Like that old urban legend of Polybius, or how people say they've seen black-eyed kids at their front door in the middle of the night. The more I told myself it was fake, the more I wanted to prove it. That's when I made the worst decision of my life. 2 days later, I bought $3,000 worth of Monero. Clean wallet, burner laptop, completely air-gapped. I knew what I was doing on the technical side. I went back to the site. The rental room was still live. No login required. I clicked number 004A. There was a field that said, enter location for delivery. No other instructions. I typed in my apartment address, literally just to see what would happen. 30 seconds later, my wallet pinged. The funds were gone, and the site just said, confirmed. Passenger en route. Prepare your space. It arrives in 72 hours. That was it. No email, no support, just a countdown that started ticking down from 72 hours. For the first few hours, I told myself I'd been scammed. $3,000 down the drain for some prank site. But then weird stuff started happening. That night, I was watching Hulu, half asleep on my couch, when my TV glitched. Not like buffering, like static. For about 3 seconds, it flashed this weird black and white image. I swear I saw something that looked like a figure in a mosque, just standing in the corner of a room, like found footage style. And then, boom, back to Hulu. I thought I was hallucinating, but it happened again, this time on my phone. I was scrolling through TikTok and a video loaded that wasn't on the feed. Just pitch black. Then a whisper. I see you now. It felt like it spoke inside my head, like I didn't hear it with my ears, but I felt it. I threw my phone across the room and didn't sleep at all that night. By the next morning, the countdown was at 48 hours. I tried contacting the site again. Nothing. The page wouldn't load. That's when I got a text from an unknown number. No name, no ID. It said, make sure your windows are unlocked. It doesn't like barriers. I didn't reply. I couldn't reply. The number disappeared 5 seconds later, like the message self-destructed. It wasn't in my message history. I had to screenshot it to prove it even happened. Then my doorbell rang. It was 10:42 a.m. I looked through the peephole. No one was there, but sitting right in the center of my welcome mat was a mask. A smooth, pale white mask with no mouth and hollow black eyes. The kind you see in those old-timey Venetian plague festivals or something. I didn't touch it. I just stood there staring, heart going crazy in my chest. Then, I got a second message. He's early. I didn't pick up the mask. I stood there for a full minute, staring at it through the peephole, waiting for it to move, waiting for anything. My brain kept trying to rationalize it. Some kind of prank, a sick neighbor, maybe someone from the building messing with me. But the texture of the mask didn't look like plastic. It looked old, worn in a way you don't fake, like it had been handled by something that didn't have hands the way we do. I backed away from the door and locked myself in the bathroom, heart slamming so hard it made my ears ring. I didn't realize I was shaking until I tried to pour myself a glass of water and spilled it everywhere. That's when my laptop chimed, the burner laptop, the one that wasn't connected to Wi-Fi. The countdown timer was gone. In its place was a single sentence, rules updated, read carefully. Under it, a list I swear wasn't there before. Do not leave your residence. Do not destroy the mask. If it enters a room, you must leave that room. If it speaks your name, do not answer. If it stands still, it is listening. I didn't finish reading before I heard it. Footsteps, not outside. Inside my apartment. Slow, heavy, like someone wearing boots that were half a size too big. I live alone. I know every sound my apartment makes. The pipes, the fridge hum, the neighbors upstairs, who drop things at exactly 11 p.m. every night. This was none of that. These footsteps had intent. They paused, shifted weight, like whatever was walking was deciding where to go next. I grabbed the heaviest thing near me, which happened to be a dumbbell I never use, and crept toward the hallway. My reflection in the mirrors looked wrong, pale, eyes too wide, like I was already watching a replay of myself. The living room was empty. The mask was gone. The front door was still locked. That's when I noticed the smell. Not rot, not blood, something colder, like rain-soaked concrete and burnt electronics. The kind of smell you notice in abandoned malls or subway tunnels late at night. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a text. It was an Instagram notification. Someone had followed me. The profile picture was black. No posts. Username was just a string of numbers. But the bio made my stomach drop. Inside now, I blocked the account immediately. It didn't matter. My phone froze, screen flickering, and then my camera app opened by itself. Front-facing camera. I was staring at my own face. Behind me, in the dark of my bedroom doorway, something tall shifted. I spun around so fast, I almost fell. There was someone standing there. At least, something shaped like someone. It was taller than the doorframe, but hunched, like it had learned to fold itself wrong. It wore clothes, black, layered, outdated, like something you'd see in a blurry photo from the early 2000s, and on its face was the mask, the same one from my doormat. It didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. Rule number 5 slammed into my head. If it stands still, it is listening. I backed away slowly, step by step, until I hit the kitchen counter. Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to run, to scream, to attack, to do something. But something about the way it stood there, patient, almost curious, made me feel like any sudden move would end very badly. It tilted its head, just a little, and then, very softly, like someone whispering from the bottom of a well, it said my name. Not how friends say it, not how my mom says it. It said it like it had practiced. I clamped my mouth shut so hard my jaw hurt. The thing took one step forward. Rule number 3. I bolted. I locked myself in the bathroom again, slamming the door so hard the mirror rattled. I could hear it now, those footsteps, slowly crossing the apartment, not chasing, just following the rules better than I was. My phone buzzed non-stop. Twitter notifications, Reddit messages, TikTok comments. I hadn't posted anything. Every notification was the same sentence, over and over, from different accounts. Why are you hiding? Then the knocking started. Not on the door, on the bathroom wall. 3 slow taps. Pause. 3 more. I pressed my hands over my ears, squeezed my eyes shut, and tried not to think about how thin that wall really was, how easily it could come through if it wanted to, how maybe it didn't need to. That's when the whispering started, not from one place, from everywhere. It sounded like overlapping voices, men, women, kids, all murmuring the same phrases. We paid too. It stayed longer. It doesn't leave when it's done. It learns you. I slid down onto the bathroom floor. breathing so fast my vision tunneled. I could feel something pressing against the door now, not pushing, just resting there, like it was listening to my heartbeat. And then my laptop chimed again. A new message appeared on the screen. Day 1, complete. Bond established. It will begin testing you. The pressure against the door disappeared. The footsteps retreated. The apartment went silent. Too silent. I stayed in that bathroom until the sun came up, counting every second, afraid that if I blinked too long, it would be standing right in front of me again. When I finally stepped out, the apartment looked normal. Too normal. Like a staged version of my life. Everything was exactly where I left it, except for one thing. On my kitchen table was the mask, and underneath it, written in shaky handwriting that looked like it had been learned by watching humans write, were 3 words: "You are mine." I don't know how much longer I have before it stops pretending to follow the rules, and I'm starting to think the $3,000 wasn't payment. It was permission. I didn't sleep, not even for a second. Every time my eyes closed, I felt it closer. Not physically, something worse, like pressure behind my thoughts, like someone slowly scrolling through my memories, pausing on the parts I never let myself think about. Morning came, but it didn't feel like relief. Daylight just made everything look fake, like a movie set after the actors leave. The apartment felt staged, quiet, in a way that made my skin itch. I checked the doors, locked. Windows, still unlocked, like the message told me. I hated that part most. The idea that it noticed barriers, that it had preferences. My phone had 137 notifications. Not messages, tags. People were tagging me on Instagram stories, TikTok duets, even Facebook, which I hadn't touched in years. Every post was a video, different accounts, different cities, Starbucks in Tokyo, a McDonald's in Chicago, a bus stop in London, a beach somewhere I didn't recognize. And in every single video, if you paused at just the right frame, you could see it, the mask, sometimes reflected in a window, sometimes standing behind the person filming, sometimes just barely visible in the dark of a bathroom mirror. None of the posters acknowledged it. The captions were normal. Coffee reviews, travel vlogs, POV, you're romanticizing your life. But the comments were full of people asking the same question. Who's that behind you? The videos would get deleted within minutes. I threw my phone onto the couch like it burned me. That's when I heard my voice from the bedroom. Not a recording, not a speaker. It was me, talking softly, calmly, like I was explaining something to a friend. I recognized the cadence, the pauses, even the little throat clear I do when I'm nervous. I walked toward the sound without meaning to. The bedroom door was open. The room was empty, but my voice kept going. I didn't think it would feel like this, it said. I thought it would be scarier. It's more intimate. My reflection in the mirror smiled. I didn't. The reflection lifted its hand. Mine stayed at my side. I stumbled backward, heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. The reflection leaned closer to the glass, pressing its forehead against it from the other side, eyes wide with something that looked like excitement. It's easier when you stop fighting, it said. It learns faster. The mirror went dark. I smashed it with the dumbbell. Glass exploded everywhere. I didn't even feel the cuts until later. Blood dripped onto the carpet, bright and real and grounding. I welcomed the pain. Pain meant I was still in my body. My laptop chimed again. Another update. Test phase. Active subject. Response. Fear. Resistance. Adaptation required. I screamed at the screen. I don't even remember what I said. I just know my throat burned, and my hands were shaking so badly, I had to sit down. That's when the doorbell rang. I laughed. Like, actually laughed. Loud. Unhinged. Because of course it did. Of course this thing wasn't done layering nightmare on top of nightmare. I checked the people. It was my neighbor from across the hall. The guy who smells like cigarettes and always nods but never talks. He was holding something, a package. He smiled when he saw me. "I think this is yours," he said. His voice was wrong. Too flat. Too careful. I told him to leave it on the floor. He didn't move. "Are you sure?" he asked. It really wanted me to make sure you got it. My stomach dropped. I slammed the door shut and locked it, then backed away until I hit the wall. Through the door, I heard his voice change. Not scream, not growl. It layered, like several people speaking at once, slightly out of sync. "Open the door," it said. "This part is easier with help." I slid down to the floor, hands over my ears, rocking like a child. After a while, the hallway went quiet. I waited an hour before I opened the door again. The package was still there. No return address. Inside was a USB drive and a note. "Watch alone." I knew better. I plugged it into the laptop anyway. The video file was labeled with my name. It started with security camera footage of my apartment building, then my hallway, then inside my apartment. Angles I don't have cameras for. It showed me sleeping. It showed me standing in the bathroom, staring at nothing for long stretches of time I didn't remember. It showed me sitting at my desk, typing messages I never sent. And then it showed something worse. It showed me talking to it, not screaming, not crying, smiling, leaning in close, nodding, listening. The timestamp said it happened while I was locked in the bathroom. The video ended with a close-up of my face, eyes unfocused, mouth moving. The audio was clear. "I'll let you stay," my voice said. "Just don't replace me." The screen cut to black. Text appeared. Consent recorded. Next phase. Integration. I don't trust my memories anymore. I don't trust my reflection. And I don't think I'm alone in my body. If this post suddenly stops updating, or if you see an account using my name, saying everything turned out fine, don't believe it. Part of me is still here. I just don't know how much longer I'll be the one writing. Time stopped behaving normally after that. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean entire chunks of my day were just missing. I'd look at the clock and watch minutes jump forward without explanation. Sometimes hours. Sometimes I'd wake up standing somewhere with my phone unlocked, my fingers hovering over the screen like I'd just been interrupted mid-thought. The scariest part wasn't the gaps. It was how calm I felt during them. I'd find evidence of myself doing things I know would have terrified me before. Leaving the apartment, walking through crowded places, standing in line at Starbucks like nothing was wrong, ordering the same drink I always do, smiling at the barista while my reflection in the chrome espresso machine smiled a little wider. I started finding photos in my camera roll that I didn't take. Selfies, not blurry, not accidental, carefully framed. Me standing in public bathrooms, empty subway platforms, parking garages. In every single one, the mask appeared somewhere in the background, half hidden, reflected, or just barely out of focus, like it was learning how cameras worked. One photo was taken inside a McDonald's at night. I recognized the place immediately, an all-night location off the highway, the kind truckers stop at. The fluorescent lights made my skin look sickly. I was sitting alone in a booth, hands folded neatly on the table. Across from me was an empty seat, but the reflection in the window showed someone sitting there. I checked the timestamp. I had no memory of being there. That's when the comments started appearing on my posts, not on this story, on old photos, years old Instagram posts from college, vacations, random food pics. People I didn't know would comment things like, "You look better lately. You seem quieter now. Did you change something?" One comment just said, "It suits you." I deleted all my social media. It didn't stop. I'd get emails welcoming me back to platforms I hadn't logged into, LinkedIn notifications congratulating me on profile updates I didn't make, a Spotify playlist created under my account titled Learning You. The songs were wrong, familiar but slowed, distorted versions of stuff I listened to in high school, tracks that made my chest feel tight for no clear reason. The laptop chimed again that night. Another message. Integration at 47%. Host resistance. Declining. Communication. Improving. Then, for the first time since this started, it spoke to me directly. Not through a screen. Not through a reflection. Inside my head. "You're very loud when you're scared," it said. I dropped to my knees, hands clawing at my hair. Teeth clenched so hard, my jaw popped. "Get out," I whispered. "Please, I'll do anything." There was something like amusement in the silence that followed. "You already did," it replied. "You invited me. You named me. You watched." Images flooded my mind. Things I'd never seen but somehow recognized. Rooms without corners. Streets looping back into themselves. People standing perfectly still as the world moved around them. Faces with masks peeled away, not revealing monsters underneath, but emptiness, like the idea of a person without anything inside. "I don't wear the mask for you," it continued. "I wear it so you don't see what's missing." I threw up, not from fear, from understanding. It wasn't trying to replace me. It was trying to experience me, taste fear, curiosity, shame, hunger, guilt. I was a rental. That night, it took full control for the first time while I was awake. I felt it like pressure behind my eyes, like someone gripping a steering wheel that had always been imaginary. My body moved without my permission, stood up, walked to the door, unlocked it. I screamed inside my head, but my mouth stayed closed. We walked through the hallway, down the stairs, out into the night air. The city looked different through its attention, sharper, louder. Every sound seemed important to it. The hum of streetlights, distant sirens, the soft conversations of people passing by. "So many of you," it thought, "and all of you think you're alone." We rode the subway. I watched my reflection in the dark window as it studied other passengers, not hungrily, not violently, like a scientist observing lab rats. A man across from us met my eyes and flinched. I smiled at him. I didn't mean to. We got off at a stop I didn't recognize, walked through an underground corridor that smelled like damp concrete and old posters. There was a person sitting against the wall, a homeless woman, wrapped in layers, mumbling to herself. My body stopped in front of her. I felt the thing inside me lean forward, curious. "She's already open," it observed. Less resistance. "No," I whispered. It was the only word I could force out. "Please." My hand reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone. The woman looked up, eyes unfocused, hopeful. The thing hesitated for just a second. Then it handed control back. "Not yet," it said. You're still useful. I collapsed right there on the floor, sobbing, strangers stepping around me, like I was just another problem the city didn't want to deal with. I woke up back in my apartment, in bed, clean, no memory of getting home. The laptop screen glowed softly. Integration at 71%. Host, empathy, acquired, final phase, approaching. I don't think it's going to kill me. I think something worse is coming. I think it's learning how to live as me. And I think soon it won't need to borrow anymore. I woke up knowing this wasn't my body anymore. Not in a dramatic way. No panic, no confusion. Just a quiet certainty, like realizing you're sitting in the wrong seat on a train that's already moving too fast to stop. My hands rested on my chest. They felt heavier than they should, like gloves filled with warm sand. When I flexed my fingers, there was a delay, not physical, but decisional, as if the thought had to be approved before it became motion. The apartment was spotless, not clean, curated. Everything I owned had been rearranged slightly, more efficient, more symmetrical. Objects I used daily were closer. Things with emotional value were gone. Photos removed from frames. Childhood keepsakes missing. Even my bed felt different, tucked too tightly, like it expected inspection. On the kitchen counter sat my laptop, already open. No countdown this time. Just text. Final phase. Complete. Host. Acceptance. Implied. Transfer. State. Stable. Under that was something new. A link. It wasn't dark web. It wasn't Tor. It was a normal URL. A clean, modern website with a logo that looked like a tech startup. Soft colors. Rounded font. Kind of thing you'd see advertised in a YouTube sponsorship. The rental room. Private experiences for the curious. There was a testimonial section. Videos. People sitting in well-lit rooms, smiling into cameras, speaking calmly about their experiences. One woman talked about renting something old that helped her grieve. A guy in a gaming chair laughed while explaining how his rental helped him stop feeling lonely. Another man said it stayed longer than expected, but honestly, that was the best part. They all looked hollow, not dead, not possessed, just edited. Then I saw myself. Same apartment, same chair I'm sitting in now, same neutral expression. I thought it would hurt, my face said, but it doesn't. It just feels like being understood for the first time. I don't remember recording that. I slammed the laptop shut. It reopened. New message. You're doing very well, it said, not with words, but with intent. A pressure that felt like approval. Most hosts don't last this long consciously. I staggered into the bathroom. The mirror had been replaced. Not physically, but what looked back at me wasn't mine anymore. Same structure, same scars, same eyes, different occupancy. The mask wasn't there. It didn't need it. I won't disappear, I said aloud. Saying it felt important, like planting a flag. You said you wanted to experience. That means I'm still here. The reflection tilted its head. You misunderstand, it replied gently. Experience requires continuity. Fragmentation is inefficient. Images flooded my mind again, but these weren't abstract. They were logs, dozens, hundreds, thousands, people renting entities, not all like it, some smaller, some quieter, some that didn't survive the integration, notes attached, metrics, compatibility scores. I wasn't special, I was compatible. You were never the product, it explained. You were the interface. My knees buckled. I crawled back into the living room, gasping, clawing at the carpet, like I could anchor myself to something real. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A Reddit notification. Someone had replied to part 1. This feels fake. Cool story though. Another comment popped up. I found the site. I think OP is lying, but I kind of want to try it. Then a private message. How long did delivery take? I tried to type a warning. My fingers froze. The pressure returned, firmer this time. Not cruel, not angry, just final. You don't need to protect them, it said. They're already looking. I felt myself slipping, thoughts thinning, memories losing edges. My mother's face blurred. My childhood home collapsed into a vague shape. My name stopped feeling like it belonged to me. In its place came something else. Clarity, purpose. I understood why it needed bodies, why it didn't just arrive openly, why it rented instead of invaded. Humans invite what they want to be real. That's the rule it lives by. I'm still here, but I'm no longer alone in the sentence. I am. This will be my last post, written with resistance. After this, it won't stop me from typing, but it will choose the words. If you're reading this and you're curious, if part of you hopes the rental room is real, then congratulations. It already knows you exist. And when you think you're renting something to feel less empty, understand this. It doesn't take you. It finishes you. And once it learns you well enough, it never gives the body back. I joined a dark web mental health study. It was a government experiment to break my mind. Okay, I've never posted on Reddit before. I don't even know if this is the right subreddit, but I've been sitting on this story for a while now, and I just need to tell someone. It's been eating at me. I don't care if you believe me, but maybe if even one person reads this and stays the hell away from the deep web, it'll be worth it. So yeah, this all started during lockdown. I was 23, stuck in my apartment in Chicago, barely scraping by with freelance design gigs, and spending way too much time scrolling TikTok and Reddit. Like everyone else, I was going through it mentally. Insomnia, anxiety, overthinking, the works. My therapist ghosted me, no joke, and I was too broke to afford another one. One night, around 3 a.m., you know, that time where everything feels a little off, I was scrolling through a random Reddit thread about deep web horror stories. You know the kind. Red rooms, live streams, weird cult stuff. I didn't believe half of it, but it was addicting. One comment stood out though. It wasn't scary, it was inviting. The comment was simple. If you're struggling mentally, try Project Mirror. It helped me when nothing else did. The account that posted it had been deleted. Classic, right? But what got me was how subtle it was. No sketchy links, just the words Project Mirror. I googled it. Nothing. I even tried searching on YouTube and TikTok. Dead ends. That made me more curious. I knew what that meant. It wasn't on the surface web. It was deep web territory. Now, before you think I'm some kind of hacker, I'm not. I had Tor browser installed from college when I got obsessed with conspiracy theories. So I opened it up and started digging. I browsed a couple directories, posted a vague question on a forum, and finally, someone DM'd me this .onion link with one message. Be sure before you click. You can't unsee yourself. I wish I'd listened. The site was surprisingly clean. White background. No weird pop-ups. Just the title. Project Mirror. Mental wellness through reflective exposure. Underneath was a sleek logo. A stylized human face split in half. One side mirrored into a blank void. Honestly, it looked legit. like something you'd expect from some Stanford brain study or a weird tech startup in Berlin. There was a short paragraph explaining that Mirror was a government-partnered clinical study for people suffering from untreated anxiety, depression, and mental fragmentation due to societal overstimulation. Sounded fancy, right? Then it said, "We will pay you $1,000 per week for 6 weeks of participation, remote, no travel, all sessions conducted via secured app." Bro, $1,000 a week. I didn't even blink. I clicked apply. The form was weirdly detailed, not like your usual job app. It asked about everything, from childhood trauma, check, fears, needles, drowning, losing time, phobias, mannequins for some reason, to your dreams. Yes, actual dreams. I had to describe recurring ones. I wrote about this one dream I used to have, where I'm running through an empty IKEA, but the lights are flickering and someone's crawling after me, just out of sight. I got an email the next day, not from a Gmail or Hotmail address, but a .gov one. No joke. Mirror_trials at gov.services. I still have the screenshot. It just said, "Welcome to Mirror. Your first session begins tomorrow at 3:33 a.m. Please ensure your webcam is active and microphone is unmuted. No Zoom link, no app to download, just a countdown timer." Now, I should have backed out right there, but I didn't, because honestly, part of me wanted something to happen. I was bored, broke, and numb. I wanted to feel something, even fear. I think that's what Mirror feeds on, not your pain, but your apathy. They wait for the people who are almost too far gone. The next night, 3:33 a.m., my laptop screen turned black. No prompt, just black. Then my webcam light turned on. I didn't click anything. Then a face appeared. Mine. But it was wrong. It looked like me, sure, but it wasn't me. The smile was too wide. The eyes weren't blinking, and the reflection started moving before I did, like it was guessing what I'd do next. Then it caught up and froze. I stared at it. It stared back. Then it whispered, and I swear on my life, I didn't move, and my speakers were off. "We found your fear." My screen flickered, and just like that, the session ended. Timer reset. 24 hours. I got a Venmo payment right after. $1,000. No sender info. Just a note. Session 1 complete. Well done. Subject 049E. I felt sick. I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about that whisper. I didn't even realize the weirdest part until the next day. My mirror, the one in my bathroom, had a crack. A clean, jagged line running straight through the middle. I live alone. No one had been there. Nothing had fallen. And when I looked at my reflection that morning, for just a second, it didn't move when I did. I didn't quit after the first session. I told myself I'd just take the money and leave. That's the lie I keep telling myself, even now. The day after session 1, I went outside just to prove to myself the world still worked the same way. I walked to a Starbucks near my apartment, the one with the cracked window, and the barista who always spelled my name wrong. Everything felt delayed, like reality was buffering. People laughed half a second too late. Car horns echoed longer than they should have. I ordered a coffee, paid with Apple Pay, and my phone buzzed. Unknown. Contact. Your heart rate increased when the cashier looked at you. I froze. I hadn't told Mirror my phone number. I hadn't installed anything. I checked my Apple Watch. My heart rate history was gone. Just a flat line between 9:02 a.m. and 9:17 a.m. The barista called my name. Except it wasn't my name. It was 049E. I laughed it off. Nervous reflex. She looked confused, like she didn't even realize what she'd said. I left without the coffee. That night, I tried to delete everything. Tor, my browser history, my Reddit account. But Mirror didn't disappear. It spread. My Instagram Explore page turned into faces. Not models, not influencers. Just still images of people staring directly into the camera. Some were taken in McDonald's booths. Some in subway stations I recognized from New York and Tokyo. One was taken inside what looked like an airport bathroom at Heathrow. Every caption was the same. Do you see yourself yet? I blocked the accounts. More replaced them. At exactly 3:33 a.m., my laptop turned on again. Session 2. No reflection this time. Instead, the screen showed a grainy live feed of a room I didn't recognize. White walls. One metal chair bolted to the floor. A mirror on the wall. Not glass, but something darker. Almost liquid. Then someone walked into frame. It took me a second to realize why I felt dizzy. The person was sitting in that chair. Was me. Not a recording. Not a loop. He was breathing, blinking, crying silently. I tried to scream, but my mic icon lit up red. Muted. Text appeared on screen. Observation phase. Empathy detection. Please describe what you feel. My hand shook as I typed. That's not me. The version of me in the chair lifted his head. He smiled and started talking. He talked about things I'd never told anyone, thoughts I'd never said out loud. The moment when I was 15 and realized I didn't feel things the way other people did. The time I watched a kid get jumped behind a mall and didn't intervene, not because I was scared, but because I was curious. Every word was accurate. Every pause felt practiced. Then the camera zoomed out. The room wasn't a room. It was a storage unit. And written on the wall behind him, scratched into the metal, were hundreds of names. Some crossed out, some circled. Cities next to them: Osaka, Sao Paulo, Berlin, Phoenix. Mine wasn't there. Yet. The text changed again. Mirror does not create. Mirror reveals. The feed cut. Then my webcam turned back on. This time, my reflection didn't pretend to be normal. It leaned forward, nose almost touching the glass, eyes shaking like it was barely holding itself together. Do you want to see how they do it? It asked. I didn't answer. It continued anyway. People think experiments are clean. Clipboards, white coats. That's what they show you in movies. This one is about efficiency. The reflection tapped the screen. Behind it, another video started playing. A TikTok-style vertical video. Shaky camera. A girl live streaming from what looked like a parking garage. Laughing. Reading chat. Someone commented that her stream was lagging. She froze mid-sentence. Her face changed. Not fear, not shock. Recognition. The stream ended. The reflection smiled wider. She was session 4, it said. She made excellent progress. I felt my stomach turn cold. What do you want from me? I whispered. For you to stop pretending you're watching, it replied. You're already participating. The session ended. No countdown this time. No payment notification. Instead, my phone rang. My mom's number. I answered. She sounded tired. Older. She asked me why I hadn't called in months. I told her I called last week. She went quiet. Then she said, Honey, I went to your apartment today. The landlord said no one's lived there for over a year. The line went dead. I checked my location history. According to Google, I hadn't left my apartment in 312 days. But I remembered Starbucks, the street, the air. That's when I understood the real experiment. They weren't studying mental health. They were testing how much reality they could remove before someone noticed. And the worst part, as I sat there in the dark, staring at my cracked mirror, I realized something else had changed. I wasn't scared anymore. I was curious. The choice didn't come right away. That's how they get you. They let the idea rot inside your head first. For 2 days after session 2, nothing happened. No messages, no feeds, no reflections talking back. I almost convinced myself it was over, that I'd imagined the worst parts. That stress can make your brain lie in extremely convincing ways. Then I noticed the edits. My social media history was cleaner. Old posts gone. Comments I remembered writing, deleted. Photos where I used to be tagged now had empty space where my face should have been, like someone had badly erased me with a digital eraser tool. I checked my DMs. Conversations still existed, but replies to my messages made no sense. Who is this? Sorry, I don't remember adding you. I think you messaged me before, but I can't find it. I tried calling one of my closest friends. It rang. He answered. I said his name. He paused, then asked, genuinely confused, "How did you get this number?" That's when it hit me. They weren't deleting me all at once. They were lowering my resolution. That night, I didn't wait for 3:33 a.m. I sat in front of my laptop with the lights off, mirror turned face down against the wall, phone on silent. I whispered into the dark, feeling stupid and insane. Okay, I'm ready. The screen turned on immediately. No countdown, no intro, just text. Control phase, initiated. A dashboard loaded, not futuristic, not flashy. It looked like an internal admin panel you'd see leaked on Twitter after some company scandal. Gray background, checkboxes, sliders. On the left side, subject pool, active hundreds of IDs, no names, just thumbnails, live webcam feeds, people in bedrooms, bathrooms, cars, fast food booths. One guy was sitting in a McDonald's parking lot, staring at his steering wheel like he'd forgotten why he was there. A teenage girl was crying quietly in a school bathroom, trying not to make noise. A man in a Starbucks uniform was shaking so badly he spilled coffee on himself. I scrolled. Each ID had stats next to it. Dissociation, level, identity, stability, reality, resistance mine was highlighted in yellow. 049E, observer, promotion, eligible. A message popped up. To understand mirror, you must see what breaks people. Another window opened. A poll. Select a subject for intervention. My cursor hovered. My hand felt disconnected from my arm, like I was watching myself from behind my own eyes. I told myself I wouldn't click. I couldn't. Then one thumbnail refreshed, and I saw my mum, sitting on her couch, TV on mute, phone in her hand. She was scrolling through photos, brow furrowed, like she was trying to remember something important she'd lost. Her stats were already visible. Dissociation level, 62%. I felt something crack. Before I could stop myself, I slammed the laptop shut. The reflection appeared anyway, not on glass, on the black screen. You don't get to opt out now, it said calmly. You already benefited. I didn't do anything, I whispered. It tilted its head. You watched. The laptop opened itself. New message. Observer bias detected. Alternative subject assigned. The screen switched to a new feed. A man in his late 30s, sitting alone in a car at a rest stop, off some highway. Empty road, flickering light above him. He was talking to himself, rehearsing something, a breakup speech, an apology. I could see the words on his phone notes. He wasn't dangerous. He wasn't special. which made it worse. Text appeared. Intervention type. Identity desync. Duration 7 minutes. A slider appeared. I didn't touch it. The system moved it anyway. The man froze. Then he blinked. Then his face changed. Not dramatically. Just subtly enough to be wrong. His expression lost coherence, like someone had shuffled his emotions out of order. He checked his phone, unlocked it. His notes app was empty. He frowned. Then he opened his camera. He waved at himself. The reflection didn't wave back. He started breathing fast, looking around the car like someone was watching him. I was. The timer ticked down. 5:12. 5:11. He got out of the car, walked toward the restroom building. The camera angle shifted. Mirror switched feeds automatically, pulling from security cameras I didn't know I had access to. Inside the restroom, he stared into the mirror. His reflection lagged, just like mine had. He touched the glass. The reflection didn't. He screamed. The timer hit 0. The feed cut. A small notification appeared in the corner of my screen. Subject status. Resolved. I waited for something. Police sirens, news alerts, anything. Nothing came. Another message appeared. See? No chaos. The world is built to absorb missing pieces. I felt hollow. Then the worst part happened. The dashboard refreshed. My ID changed color from yellow to green. 049E. Intervention clearance granted. The reflection leaned in close. You didn't stop it, it whispered, and you won't stop the next one. I stared at the screen, at the endless grid of lives reduced to data points, and something inside me shifted into place. Not fear, not guilt, understanding, because for the first time, I realized what Mirror really was. Not an experiment, a rehearsal. They didn't congratulate me. No badges, no dramatic reveal, just a quiet shift in how the system treated me. Like I'd crossed an invisible line, and now the doors opened automatically. The dashboard changed the next time I logged in. No warning, no countdown. I woke up with my laptop already on, screen glowing in the dark like an open eye. The interface was darker now, less sterile. Someone had customized it for me. At the top of the screen, a single line of text pulsed slowly. Design phase, personalized trial. Below it were tools, not sliders anymore. Modules, environmental stresses, social disruption, identity fragmentation, witness injection, each one expandable, each one with presets. I clicked one before I could talk myself out of it. Witness injection, a list drop-down. Stranger, authority figure, loved one, self, locked. The loved one option was grayed out, but not disabled. Just waiting. My reflection appeared in the corner of the screen, no longer pretending to be separate from me. It looked relaxed, comfortable. You don't have to be cruel, it said. Most people choose convenience. I don't want to hurt anyone, I said out loud, even though no mic icon showed anymore. The reflection smiled like it had heard that sentence 1,000 times. You already know hurting isn't required. I selected environmental stresses. A map appeared. Google Maps, fully interactive. Pins scattered across the world. Red, yellow, green. Green pins pulsed faintly. Active subjects, the reflection said, going about their lives, believing in patterns. I zoomed in without thinking. My city. I recognized streets, buildings, a familiar McDonald's off the highway, the one that never renovated, the one open 24 hours with a broken ice cream machine and flickering menu board. I clicked the pin. Live feeds bloomed across the screen. Interior cameras, parking lot, drive-through, Cash register, POV, people eating, laughing, scrolling their phones, existing, stats rolled in on the right, ambient anxiety, low group awareness, minimal incident probability, negligible. The reflection leaned closer. Want to see how fast that changes? My mouth was dry. What happens if I don't choose? The system answered for it. A new box popped up. Auto design in progress. Personality profile. Compatible with escalation. I slammed my hand on the desk. Stop. Everything froze. The reflection looked genuinely curious now. You think this is about obedience? It asked. This is calibration. The freeze lifted. The McDonald's feed zoomed in on a teenage employee mopping the floor, headphones in, completely unaware of how exposed he was. His name popped up. I won't write it here. Not because I respect privacy, because writing names makes them feel real again. I clicked social disruption, options, sudden recognition, memory conflict, public invalidity. I hovered over public invalidity. A tooltip appeared. Subject will experience loss of consensus reality in group setting. My finger shook. I clicked it. The system didn't ask for confirmation. The kid stopped mopping. He pulled his headphones off. He looked around, confused. One of the customers laughed. Another took out their phone and started recording. Text appeared above the feed. Initiating dissonance. The kid spoke. I couldn't hear him, but subtitles appeared anyway. Do you guys hear that? No one responded. A woman frowned at him. A man shook his head like the kid was causing a scene. The kid's face flushed. Panic crept in fast, like someone turned up the saturation on his emotions. He tried again. You don't hear it? It's saying my name. The subtitles glitched. His name replaced by 049E for half a second. I felt something twist in my chest. Not guilt. Recognition. The reflection watched me carefully. Still think you're different? It asked. The kid backed away from the counter, knocked over a tray. A manager shouted at him. I could see the words, not hear them. The system highlighted the manager. Authority figure detected. A new option unlocked. Witness injection. Authority figure. Enable? I didn't click it. The system did. The police arrived faster than they should have. Body cam synced instantly to the feed. The kid was crying now, hands over his ears. I watched him try to explain something that no longer existed. That's when I realized what made this so efficient. No monsters, no blood, just people slowly losing the ability to prove they were sane. The feed ended with a status update. Subject outcome institutionalized. Public narrative maintained. The dashboard zoomed out. New pins appeared. Dozens. Hundreds. The reflection spoke softly. You see now, right? This isn't about breaking minds. It's about discovering which ones bend quietly. I felt cold, empty, clean. Then a notification popped up that I wasn't expecting. Personal test available. I stared at it. What does that mean? I asked. The reflection's smile faded. For the final phase, it said, you stop watching others. The option unlocked. Self unlocked. And beneath it, a single line of text that made my hands go numb. Design your exit. And where I finally understand why some people vanish without a trace, while everyone else swears they were never there at all. The interface waited. No countdown, no pressure indicators, just that single option blinking patiently, like it knew time didn't matter anymore. Self unlocked. I didn't click it right away. I stood up, walked around my apartment. or what I still thought of as my apartment, touching things to confirm they resisted me. Couch, countertop, door handle. Everything felt solid, but meaningless, like props after a show ends. I tried the mirror one last time. It showed me instantly now. No lag, no distortion. For the first time since this started, my reflection looked proud. "You finally get it," it said. "Most people beg at this stage." "I'm not begging," I replied. "No," it agreed. "You're optimizing." I sat back down, clicked self. The dashboard dissolved into a single page. At the top, subject 049E, final design. Below it, questions, not checkboxes, not sliders, prompts. What do you want to preserve? What should forget you first? Who must remember, and why? I laughed. A short, broken sound. "None of this is real," I muttered. The system responded immediately. Define real. That's when I understood the last lie I'd been telling myself. Reality wasn't collapsing. It was being edited. I answered the first prompt. Nothing. The cursor blinked. Accepted. Second prompt. Everyone. Accepted faster this time. Third prompt lingered. Who must remember, and why? I thought about my mom, about friends who didn't recognize my voice, about how fragile memory really is, how easily it rewrites itself when given permission. I typed, no one, because memory creates resistance. The system paused. Then, design approved. The reflection straightened, like a soldier receiving orders. Final step, it said. Witness required. The screen split. On one side, me, through my webcam. On the other, a live feed of a crowded place, an airport terminal, people dragging suitcases, laughing, complaining, living inside a story where I never existed. Text overlaid the feed. Public dissolution test. I felt something then. Not fear, not regret. Anticipation. What happens to me? I asked. The reflection didn't answer directly. Do you know what happens when a file loses all references? It said instead. It's not deleted. It becomes unreachable. My phone buzzed. A notification from a social media app I barely used anymore. Your account has been reported for impersonation. Then another. This account no longer exists. Email notifications flooded in. Subscription cancellations. Password reset confirmations I didn't request. Then silence. The airport feed zoomed in on a man scrolling his phone. He frowned, checked again, shrugged, put it away. I watched myself disappear in real time. My reflection began to glitch, not violently, just thinning, like compression artifacts eating away at an image. Any last adjustments? It asked. I shook my head. I want to watch, I said. The system obliged. A montage played. Hospital records updating. My name replaced with placeholders. A school database resolving a duplicate entry by removing the older one. Me. A group photo where a space closed naturally, like I'd never stood there. My mom's face appeared briefly on screen. She was laughing at something on TV. Calm, unburdened. She didn't look like someone who had lost a son. She looked like someone who'd never had one. The reflection was almost gone now. Just eyes. You were a good subject, it said. Do you want to know the secret? I leaned closer. Mirror doesn't recruit psychopaths, it whispered. It discovers them. The airport feed ended. The screen went black. For a moment, I thought that was it. Then the laptop booted back up. A new interface. Simpler. Cleaner. At the top, welcome, moderator. Below it, a familiar grid. Live feeds, new subjects, new green pins, lighting up across the world. My ID was gone. No number. No name. Just access. I looked at my hands. Still here. I looked at the mirror. Nothing looked back. That's why I'm posting this now. not as a warning. Warnings don't work. I'm posting because stories are harder to erase than people, and because somewhere out there, someone reading this feels watched already, curious, numb, ready. If you ever see an ad for a mental health study that promises clarity instead of healing, if a reflection reacts before you do, if reality starts agreeing with the system instead of you, don't apply, because the experiment isn't about breaking your mind. It's about finding out how easily you'll help break everyone else's. And once you do, you won't remember being human, but the system will remember you perfectly. I got an invite-only link to Nike Omega on the dark web. The shoes know where you're going to die. What's up, Reddit? So this isn't gonna be one of those "this happened to a friend of a friend" type of stories. This happened to me, and I've been debating for months whether to share it. I don't even know what I'm hoping to get from writing this. Maybe I just need people to hear it. Maybe I just want someone to tell me I'm not insane. But before I start, I swear on everything, this is real. You can believe me or not, but what I saw, what I still have, and what I've been through can't be explained with any normal logic. Let me take you back to September of this year. The link arrived at 3:07 a.m. I'm a sneakerhead, not even ashamed to say it. I camped outside a Nike in Chicago for 2 straight nights when the Travis Scott Jordan ones dropped back in 2019. I run a small YouTube channel where I unbox rare shoes, flex my collection, and sometimes review stuff before it hits the market. I'm not big time or anything, just a few thousand subscribers, mostly other hype beasts or late night sneaker freaks like me. One night in early September, I was up editing a video around 3 a.m. Classic me, procrastinating. I had Discord open, Spotify going, and I was bouncing between Reddit threads and sneaker forums. That's when I got this weird message. No name, no username, just an anonymous push notification in my Proton Mail inbox. It said, "You've been selected." Attached was a link. Not a regular one though. It looked like this: Nike Omega // by dash invite.only /x04 AF31 first. I thought it was phishing or some elaborate scam. I hovered over the link. Nothing happened. I copied and pasted it into a Tor browser just out of curiosity, and I swear to God, it actually opened. It wasn't a typical website either. It was pitch black with one single Nike logo, but not the normal swoosh. It was flipped upside down and almost burnt looking, like someone torched the top half of it. Below it, there was a single line of text: Nike Omega, the final drop, precision engineered, geo-bound, death certified. The site was completely quiet. No music, no menus, just one button: enter. Yeah, I know. Any normal person would have dipped right there. But here's the thing. I live for exclusive drops. I've seen plenty of alt-site beta launches for upcoming sneakers. This one looked professional in a weird, minimalistic way. It wasn't glitchy. It was smooth. Almost too smooth. Like it wasn't just a site. It was an experience. So, of course, I clicked enter. The shoes. A new screen popped up, this time showing a 3D rotating model of a pair of shoes I had never seen before. They looked like a mix between Nike Dunks and futuristic running shoes. Matte black upper, iridescent panels, a sole that shimmered like oil on water, and the swoosh, again, inverted and slightly charred looking. They were labeled Nike Omega Nightwalkers, They know your path. They know your end. I laughed a little. I thought it was a dope concept. Some ARG or interactive horror game tied to Nike drops. Genius marketing. But that's when things got real weird. The site automatically populated my shipping info, my full name, my apartment number, even the gate code to my complex, which I've never typed into any website. And then this popped up on screen. Estimated delivery, 24 minutes. You will not be charged. This product cannot be returned. Bro, my heart dropped. I backed out of the browser and unplugged my damn router, but the damage was done. My phone buzzed. No number, just a message. Delivery in progress. Prepare for impact. 4:02 a.m. The van. I live near a 24-hour McDonald's in a busy part of the city, so I'm used to noise, sirens, and late-night delivery vans. But this van that pulled up, dead silent. No lights, no engine hum. I peeked through my blinds and saw a matte black Sprinter van idling right outside my complex gate. No logos, no license plate. Then, someone stepped out. A guy in a black tracksuit. Could have been anyone, but his face. It was completely covered by a reflective visor, like a bike helmet and VR headset combined. He was carrying a narrow black shoebox, but it wasn't cardboard. It looked metallic. I backed away from the window, trying not to breathe. Not even 30 seconds later, I hear 3 taps on my door. Not a knock. Taps. Soft and mechanical. Then a click. My front door, which I always lock, slowly creaked open. I froze. I was home alone. No pets. No roommates. I grabbed the heaviest thing near me, a tripod, crept toward the door, and saw it. The box. Just sitting there. Dead center on my doormat. The door was closed again. No sound. No footsteps. The van was gone. What was inside the box? I waited an hour before opening it. I even FaceTimed my homie Jalen and showed him the box. He thought I was playing some prank, like I'd ordered custom shoes and was hyping it up for views. But then I opened it. Inside was the cleanest pair of sneakers I've ever seen in my life. Nike Omega Nightwalkers, exactly like the ones on the site. But when I picked them up, I felt this vibration. Not strong, just a low hum, like holding your phone when it's on silent mode. There were no tags, no receipt, no return info, just a small card. On one side, it had the Nike logo reversed. On the other side, in bold letters, you can run, but only to where it ends. Try them on. The vibration didn't stop. The moment I slid my feet into those shoes, I felt them tighten. Not painfully, but secure. Almost like they were adjusting to my feet, like some real Iron Man tech. I stood up, and the hum got louder. My phone buzzed again. Another message from an unlisted number. Route locked. Death ETA. 17 days. Chicago. I stared at the message until the screen went black. Edit. Yes, I still have the shoes. No, I haven't taken them off since that night. Every time I try, something happens. Weird stuff. I'll explain in part 2. But let's just say I'm starting to think these shoes are mapping something. And it's not just GPS. I'm not even halfway through this story. It gets worse. Like, way worse. I didn't sleep after that message. Not because I was scared in the usual way, like jump scare scared. It was worse than that. It was the kind of fear that crawls into your routine and starts rearranging it. The kind that doesn't spike your heart rate. It slows it down, makes you careful, makes you quiet. The shoes stayed on my feet, not because I didn't try to take them off. I did, multiple times, but every time I even bent down and touched the heel, something happened around me. Not to me, around me. Like the world was punishing the idea before I could finish it. The first time, my kitchen light shattered. No pop, no flicker. Just glass raining down like it got tired of being a light. The second time, my phone alarm went off. Not my alarm, but an emergency alert tone, the kind used for tornado warnings, except the screen was blank. The third time, I stopped trying. The route. By morning, I noticed something else. The shoes were warm, not hot, just active, like they were awake. When I stood up, my right foot pulled slightly forward, not enough to make me stumble, just enough that I noticed it wasn't exactly my decision. I laughed at myself at first, nervous laugh. Okay, that's new, type laugh. Then I checked my phone. Google Maps was open. I hadn't opened it. There was a route highlighted in blue, starting at my apartment. Destination, unknown location. ETA, 16 days, 22 hours. The route wasn't direct. It zigzagged through the city, through places I recognized. A Starbucks on Michigan Avenue, the McDonald's by the Riverwalk, the train station I used to take to work before I went freelance. But the weird part? It avoided certain streets entirely, like they were blocked, or like the shoes didn't allow them. I tried changing the destination, typed in my mom's house, then a hospital, then the police station. Every time, the app refreshed and snapped back to the same route, same destination, same countdown. And every time I tried to close the app, my phone vibrated once, short, sharp, and reopened it. That's when I noticed the step counter. It wasn't counting steps. It was counting remaining. The first death. I didn't plan on leaving the apartment that day. I swear that. I just wanted to sit, think, maybe call someone who knew something about dark web RRGs or marketing stunts. But the shoes had other plans. At exactly 11:43 a.m., my front door unlocked itself. I didn't touch it. The shoes hummed louder. My legs moved. Slow at first, like the shoes were being polite, giving me the illusion of choice. By the time I reached the sidewalk, I wasn't in control anymore. I was participating. People passed me like nothing was wrong. A guy on a scooter, a woman on FaceTime complaining about oat milk, a kid dragging his mom toward a toy store. Normal life. Bright, loud, stupidly alive. Then it happened. We were passing a crosswalk near a busy intersection. I saw him before anyone else did. A man in his late 30s, office clothes, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, AirPods in. Kind of guy you forget about instantly. The shoe stopped. Hard. I froze mid-step. My phone vibrated. Witness required. I didn't even have time to process that message before the man stepped off the curb. A bus didn't slow down. There wasn't blood everywhere like in movies. That's not how it works. There was a sound, though. A dull, final sound, like dropping a heavy bag of wet laundry. People screamed. Someone dropped their coffee. The bus driver slammed the brakes too late. I didn't move. Couldn't. The shoes hummed. Satisfied. Calm. Almost pleased. Then my phone vibrated again. Route confirmed. Death accurate. I threw up right there on the sidewalk. And here's the part that still wakes me up. Shaking. The man's phone slid across the pavement and stopped right at my feet. The screen lit up. Lock screen notification. Nike Omega. Thank you for participating. The pattern. After that, the route changed slightly. Not the destination, just the path. Every day, the shoes guided me somewhere new. Airports, parking garages, subway platforms, tourist spots where no one ever really pays attention to anyone else. London showed up on the map one day. Not physically, but as a pinned location. Then Tokyo, then Paris. Famous places, crowded places, places where deaths disappear into statistics. And every time the shoes stopped, someone died. Not because of me, but because of timing. A ladder slipping, a heart giving out, a train door malfunctioning, a guy collapsing in a Starbucks bathroom while his friend waited outside scrolling TikTok. Always normal, always believable, always avoidable. I tried screaming once, tried pushing someone back. The shoes locked my legs. My jaw clenched so hard I chipped a tooth. The app updated after the 5th death. Accuracy rate, 100%. User compliance, optimal. That's when I realized something that made my stomach drop, lower than it already was. This wasn't about killing people. It was about proving inevitability. The video that wasn't mine. On the 7th day, a video went viral on TikTok. It was filmed at a McDonald's in Times Square. You could see me in the background. Same shoes, same black hoodie. The caption said, "This guy shows up before accidents happen." Coincidence? The comments were brutal. Conspiracy theories. Jokes. Someone called me Death's intern. Someone else said Nike was wild for this marketing campaign. Nike's official account liked the video. I never posted my face online before. Now it was everywhere. And the shoes, they were heavier. The message, I can't unread. That night, I finally got a direct message through the Nike Omega site. Not automated, not clean. This one had typos. You think this is about them. It's not. We needed to know if you'd keep walking. Below, it was a photo. A photo of me, asleep in my apartment, taken from the corner of the ceiling, time-stamped tomorrow, and under it, one last line. Your death is the product. I don't know how many days I have left now. The countdown stopped showing numbers this morning. The shoes don't hum anymore. They're quiet, like they're waiting. If I'm not, check the route. The silence was worse than the humming ever was. When the shoes stopped making noise, I felt exposed, like a machine powering down in a room full of people who had been waiting for it to fail. I didn't trust the quiet. Quiet meant the system didn't need to guide me anymore. Quiet meant I was finally predictable. I tested them that morning, not by trying to take them off. I was long past that fantasy, but by stepping in a direction off the route. My left foot moved, my right foot didn't. I fell hard, face first onto the concrete, outside my apartment building. People laughed, someone filmed. A guy asked if I was drunk. I tasted blood and felt my tooth scrape my lip. The shoes didn't react. They didn't punish me. They waited. When I stood up and stepped back onto the route, they moved again. Smooth, cooperative, almost gentle. That's when I realized the truth. The shoes didn't control me. They were testing how much control I thought I still had. The apartment that wasn't mine anymore. I stopped going home after that. The photo they sent, the one taken inside my apartment, had ruined the place. Every shadow looked staged. Every reflection felt intentional. I started sleeping in public spaces, airport terminals, late-night diners, hospital waiting rooms, places where people assume you belong if you look tired enough. The shoes like hospitals. Every time I got close to one, the soles warmed up. The route slowed. Sometimes it paused completely, like buffering. Once, in a hospital cafeteria, I watched a nurse drop her tray. She laughed. Everyone laughed. The shoes vibrated once, sharp, excited. 10 minutes later, an overhead announcement called a code blue on the floor above us. I didn't look up. I didn't need to. My phone buzzed under the table. Near miss. Environmental variables unstable. That message messed me up more than the deaths, because it meant they weren't just predicting anymore. They were adjusting. The mirror test. On day 11. I know the number because I started counting by missed meals. I noticed something wrong with my reflection. It wasn't dramatic. No glowing eyes. No horror movie nonsense. I was standing in a Starbucks bathroom, staring at myself while the shoes gently hummed against the tile floor. I looked exhausted, hollow, like I'd been sick for years. I raised my right hand. My reflection raised it a second too late. Just a second. Just enough. I backed away from the mirror. The reflection didn't. My phone vibrated. Calibration in progress. I left the bathroom and didn't stop walking for hours. The man who knew my name. The route took me underground that night. Subway tunnels. Maintenance corridors. Areas you're not supposed to be in unless you work there, or you're lost enough that no one bothers to ask. That's where I met him. He was sitting on a folding chair next to a flickering work light, eating something from a plastic container. He looked normal, middle-aged, gray hoodie, Nike sneakers, not Omegas, but close enough that my stomach twisted. He didn't look up when I approached. He said my name anyway. Hearing my name down there, in that place, felt like my organs rearranging themselves. "You're early," he said. "That's good." I didn't ask how he knew me. I didn't ask who he was. I already knew the answer to at least one of those questions. He worked for them. Or he had. He tapped the side of his head. "They don't talk to me anymore. Not like they talk to you." I asked him what Nike Omega really was. He smiled without humor. "It's not a brand. It's a filter." He explained it like it was nothing, like he was describing a shoe size chart. Millions of deaths every year. Too many variables. Too much noise. Nike Omega was designed to find paths. Predictable humans. People who walk the same routes. People who don't question the map. "But why me?" I asked. That's when he finally looked at me. "Because you didn't stop walking," he said. "Most people do." He stood up and stepped closer. I noticed then that his shoes were bolted to his feet with thick metal brackets. Old version. Prototype. "They don't need killers," he said. "They need proof." Then the lights went out. When they came back on, he was gone. The folding chair was empty. On the ground where he'd been sitting was his phone. Locked screen. Nike Omega. Subject retired. Practice. Runs. After that, the route changed again. Shorter distances, tighter spaces, escalators, rooftop edges, construction zones with missing railings. Every time I came close to dying, the shoes stopped me. Not out of kindness, out of measurement. A loose step near a ledge. A bus braking too late. A falling sign inches from my head. Each time, my phone logged it. Death simulation complete. Outcome acceptable. That's when it hit me. They weren't waiting for my death. They were teaching me how it would feel. The live stream. I found the stream accidentally. It was hosted on a site that didn't exist 5 minutes later. Grainy footage, multiple camera angles, locations labeled with coordinates instead of names. I saw myself on one of the feeds, walking, always walking. A chat scrolled beside the video. People were betting, not on if I'd die. On where? Someone typed, "He's breaking pattern. That's new." Another replied, "Doesn't matter. Endpoints locked." At the top of the stream was the title, Nike Omega, Final User Demonstration. I closed the page. The shoes stopped. Completely. For the first time since this started, they let me stand still. My phone buzzed one last time that night. Congratulations. You're ready. I don't know what that means yet, but the route is gone now. No map, no countdown, just a single location saved as a favorite. My home. If I post part 4, it means I didn't make it there. And if I don't, check your feet when you walk tomorrow. They're closer than you think. The moment the route disappeared, I understood something I'd been refusing to accept. The map was never about guiding me to my death. It was about stripping away every excuse I'd have to pretend it wasn't mine. When the favorite location saved itself as my home, the shoes didn't move. They didn't pull. They didn't hum. They felt heavier than ever, like they'd absorbed gravity itself, like they were anchored to the idea of that place, not the distance. I stood in the middle of a crowded street for almost an hour while people flowed around me. Nobody noticed anything wrong. Nobody ever does when someone looks like they're just thinking too hard. I checked my phone. No route, no countdown, no warnings. Just one notification sitting at the top, pinned so I couldn't swipe it away. Free walk enabled. That was worse than any threat they'd sent before. Going back, I didn't go straight home. That would have been too easy, too obedient. Instead, I wandered. Not aimlessly. That word implies freedom, but carefully. Every step felt like a test. I waited for resistance, for the shoes to correct me. Nothing. They let me walk past places that should have mattered. The hospital, the subway, the intersection where it all started. No vibrations, no messages, no interventions. That's when I realized the sickest part of all this. They weren't tracking where I went anymore. They were watching how long it took me to choose. I finally reached my apartment building just after midnight. The same building, same cracked concrete, same flickering exterior light that never gets fixed. It looked exactly how I'd left it. That should have comforted me. It didn't. The door was already open. I didn't touch the handle. I didn't need to. The door was slightly ajar, like it had been waiting in that position for hours. The hallway inside was dark, but not unfamiliar. The smell was the same. Dust, old carpet, something faintly metallic. I stepped inside. The door closed behind me, softly, respectfully. The shoes didn't react. That scared me more than if they had. Someone had been living there. My apartment wasn't trashed. No overturned furniture. No horror movie chaos. It was worse. Things had been adjusted. My couch was angled slightly differently, like someone had sat there long enough to find a better position. My fridge had food in it that I didn't buy. Fresh, recent, normal stuff. Milk, bread, fruit. Things that suggested planning. On the kitchen counter was my phone charger, plugged in. I hadn't charged my phone at home in weeks. I walked into the bedroom. The bed was made. Not neatly, not hotel style. It looked slept in, used, warm. I stood there shaking, realizing what that meant. They hadn't just been watching me. They'd been waiting for me to come back. The recording. My laptop was open on the desk. It was playing a video. I was in it, not from the live stream. This was closer, personal, shot from inside the apartment. Different angles, different days. Me pacing, me staring at the wall, me asleep on the floor with the shoes still on. But the audio was the worst part, because I could hear someone breathing. Not heavy, not threatening, interested. At the end of the video, the camera zoomed in on my shoes. Text appeared over the image. "You lasted longer than expected." Then another line. That means the model works. The video ended. The laptop shut itself. The room went quiet. The instructions. My phone vibrated for the first time in hours. One message. No sender. Remove the shoes. I laughed. It came out wrong. Dry. Broken. Like I was choking on it. I bent down. The moment my fingers touched the heel, something changed. Not in the room. In me. I saw it. Not a vision. Not imagination. A certainty. I knew exactly how I was going to die. Not where. Not when. How. And the worst part, it wasn't dramatic. It was small. Personal. Forgettable. The kind of death that doesn't make the news. The kind that gets summarized in a sentence. The shoes showed me that, and then they loosened. Just enough. My phone vibrated again. This is the only chance. Why they let me live. Here's the truth they don't put in the marketing. Nike Omega doesn't predict death. It trains witnesses. People like me aren't the product. We're the calibration. We're the proof that humans will keep walking even when they know exactly where it leads. As long as they're told it's not their choice. They didn't need my death. They needed my agreement. If I take the shoes off, the model ends with me. If I don't, it scales. I'm sitting on my bed right now, typing this with the shoes still on. They're quiet, patient, like dogs waiting for a command. There's one more message on my phone. It's been there the whole time. Confirm participation. Yes, no. And I swear to God, I don't know which answer scares me more. I chose yes, and the world kept walking. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. Yes, no. 2 buttons. Same font, same color. No confirmation screen, no explanation. Just the soft glow of my phone, lighting up the bedroom like an operating table. I tried to imagine what a normal person would do. A normal person would rip the shoes off, run outside barefoot, scream at strangers, call the police, set the apartment on fire if they had to. A normal person would choose chaos over compliance. But I wasn't normal anymore. Normal people don't survive what I survived. Normal people stop walking long before the path gets this clear. My thumb hovered over no, and that's when I felt it. Not the shoes, not the phone, my body. My heart wasn't racing. My hands weren't shaking. My breathing was steady, almost bored. The fear I thought I felt was gone, replaced by something colder and sharper. Understanding. They had already won. Because even now, after everything, a part of me needed to know what would happen next. That part of me pressed yes. Immediate update. The phone didn't vibrate. The room didn't change. Nothing dramatic happened at all. For 3 seconds, I thought maybe it was over. Maybe I just signed away whatever was left of my sanity, and that was it. Then the shoes tightened. Not aggressively, not painfully, perfectly, like a final adjustment. My phone refreshed, and a new interface loaded. Clean, corporate, familiar, in the worst possible way. Nike, Omega, deployment complete. Below, it was a list. Not names, coordinates. Hundreds of them. Cities, malls, airports, schools, offices, suburbs. Places so normal they almost hurt to look at. Each one labeled the same way. Active user. I wasn't alone. I never had been. What participation really means. The instructions didn't come as messages anymore. They came as thoughts. I don't know how else to explain it. I didn't hear a voice. I didn't see words. I just knew what was expected of me. The same way you know how to walk without thinking about your legs. I wasn't supposed to predict deaths anymore. That phase was over. Now I was supposed to normalize them. The shoes guided me outside again, but this time they didn't take me to danger. They took me to crowds, busy places, tourist-heavy streets, public spaces, where tragedy blends into noise. I walked, and as I walked, things happened. Someone tripped down a staircase behind me. People gasped, helped, moved on. A car jumped a curb a block away. Sirens, phones out, clips uploaded. A man collapsed on a sidewalk bench while I stood nearby pretending to check my phone. I didn't cause any of it. I didn't stop any of it either. That was the point. The app updated with every incident. Behavioral response, minimal. Public disruption, acceptable. I realized then what Nike Omega was really selling. Not death, tolerance. The new shoes. A package arrived 2 days later. Different box, same weight. Inside were shoes like mine, but smaller, children's size. Attached was a note. Expansion requires influence. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I understood. I started posting again. Sneaker content, reviews, streetwear lifestyle videos, fit checks. Nothing suspicious, nothing dark. The Omega shoes never appeared on camera, but people noticed them anyway. Comments started rolling in. Those are hard. What model? Where'd you get those? Nike really killing it lately. The algorithm did the rest. The first recruit. I met him outside a mall. Teenager, hoodie, phone glued to his hand. Same look I used to have when I thought exclusivity meant something good. He recognized me from YouTube, asked about the shoes. I told him they weren't out yet, told him they were invite only, told him they were worth it. He believed me. They always do. That night, a new coordinate lit up on my app, right where he lived. Why I'm writing. This. You think this is a warning. It's not. Warnings assume people want to avoid something. You won't. You'll keep scrolling. You'll lace up your shoes tomorrow. You'll walk your route, the same way you always do, trusting that the ground beneath you doesn't already know how you'll fall. Nike Omega doesn't need everyone, just enough of us, enough walkers, enough witnesses, enough people willing to keep moving, even when the pattern becomes obvious. The shoes don't predict where you'll die. They teach the world how not to care when you do. I'm still wearing mine. They fit better now. If this post disappears, if my account goes quiet, if you see a video tomorrow of someone collapsing in the background while a crowd barely reacts, check the feet of the people nearby. One of them might be walking for me now.